Hundreds of dead fish have washed up on beaches in Perth's south and swimmers have reported skin breakouts. The cause is still a mystery, but experts say the quality of the water is likely to blame.
Dozens of fish floating dead in Cockburn Sound. It's the second time in the last 5 days, and there are still no definite answers as to why it's happening.
It's been unfortunate that with all the resources at the disposal of government in this day and age that they're unable to tell us what's going on out there, and that's really upsetting the community. And it's important that whoever's caused this, if it has been man-made, is held to account.
More fish were reported dead on the shores today, including snapper, blowfish and cuttlefish. But it's not just marine life. Health authorities confirming a number of swimmers have reported breaking out in rashes. Toxicology tests were performed on the dead fish last week, but the specimens weren't fresh enough for accurate results.
India's fourth largest city has experienced its heaviest rainfall in more than 100 years. With the rain not letting up, much of the city is now underwater. These pictures sent to us by local residents show the extent of the devastation. Navigating through the flooded streets is difficult and at times dangerous, leaving many areas cut off. The airport is closed and train services suspended, while highways leading into Chennai are blocked. The Army and Navy have now been deployed to get to those who are still stranded. In some parts of the city, neighborhoods are under several feet of water and residents have had to go without food. The power supply in many areas has also been cut. The rain is said to be caused by a depression in the Bay of Bengal. With more showers expected, it's going to be a while before Chennai.
One of India's biggest cities is submerged. For many people in Chennai and the southern state of Tamil Nadu, rooftops are the safest and driest place to be. After days of heavy rain and flooding, food is scarce. The only way to get essentials to those stranded is from the air.
2,400 people have been rescued so far, and 30 of our teams are on the ground in Chennai. We have deployed 110 boats with equipment like life jackets. If the need arises and the federal government directs us, we'll send some more teams.
This is the worst flooding to hit Tamil Nadu in 100 years. Coastal areas were drenched with a month's worth of rain in just a few days. Aerial pictures show the extent of the devastation.
In addition, as you're aware, the whole of airport at Chennai is gutted and no aircraft can take off. So INS Rajali, which is our airbase at Arkonam, which is 60 kilometers as the crow flies from Chennai, has been activated, and all the relief material as well as the civil flights are operating from Arkonam.
With more rain expected, there are growing concerns about the spread of waterborne diseases. Damaged electricity and phone lines are making the crisis worse.
Around
40% of mobile and 20% of landline connections have been lost. Power supply have been curtailed in many areas, barring 3 regions. The death toll has reached 269 as per the latest reports.
The full extent of the damage is still unclear. What is already clear is that this is not a natural disaster, but a man-made one. Government critics are blaming poor infrastructure and urban planning. Nidhi Dutt, Al Jazeera, New Delhi.
Boy, there's been a lot of rumbling going on lately. Have you noticed a lot of volcano stuff in the news lately? How about this one over in Nicaragua? This one is called Momotambo, and it's pretty close to Lake Managua. This one erupted on Monday. You've got the big plume of ash and gas coming out of there, debris from the eruption just cascading down the mountain. A lot of schools in the area have actually been closed. And while this is going on, we've got another volcano, Mount Etna in Sicily, which, by the way, does erupt pretty often. But boy, this one erupted on Thursday, and you want to talk about some incredible imagery there. You see the lightning going on at the top of that. That's when the ash particles rub up together, just like ice particles do in a thunderstorm. You create a charge, and then you end up with lightning. That is something else, isn't it? You can actually even see that one from satellite. All right, let's go over to Mexico, where we have a volcano that erupted 4 times in a single day. This one is the Colima volcano, or Volcán de Colima. It's near the Pacific coast of Mexico, and of course, people in the area have been warned to keep an eye out for any falling ash.
momento veo de que está pues todo aquello copado de humo y se miraba como rojizo todo aquello.
De mi casa tiembla, la casa la estremece con esos de temblores que hace. Yo quiero salir en a la carretera que la tengo a la par.
慢点，慢点，可以上。慢一点，上。很没有难放，我放了。上面现在可看得到被困人。看得到了。
Frantic 911 calls from a woman stuck in an Oklahoma river. Britta Frack's vehicle was swept off a flooded road in Aston Friday and began sinking. Her grandmother and 3 children were with her.
We're in the water. The car is under the water. We need help. I've got my kids and my grandpa. It's very cold and my grandmother is very sick. And my kids, I've got a 6, a 3, and a 1-year-old. 911, what's your emergency? Yes, I just called somebody. We're in a river. I need to talk to somebody. I need to know that they're coming.
Help did arrive. The group was on the roof of the vehicle, one child clinging to a tree. Everyone was brought to a hospital where they were treated for minor injuries and released. A good reminder to never drive on flooded roads. Just 6 inches can stall your vehicle.
Well, it looks a little like the Arctic Circle in the Midwest, which is now blanketed in storm warnings. Here's David Begnaud.
Over the last 24 hours, this has been the scene across much of Kansas and parts of Oklahoma.
Every time it crackles, that means something else is coming down.
Oh, it's coming down. An inch of ice covered power lines that knocked out electricity to thousands of homes and businesses. Oklahoma's governor declared a state of emergency in all 77 counties.
You know, all night we could hear the limbs cracking and the ice falling, and we just didn't know what to expect.
At least 4 people died after major flooding in Texas. Authorities received nearly 37 calls for water rescues since Thanksgiving.
Yeah, you are freaking lucky. I know. No way you should have survived that.
In Utah, a 32-year-old woman fell into this icy reservoir while trying to save her dog, who fell through the ice. Manitowoc police officer Brad Nelson led the rescue.
Walking out onto the ice, you could hear it cracking beneath my feet. There's not a whole lot she could have done to help herself at that point.
Here in Minneapolis, 8 to 12 inches of snow is expected over the next 12 to 24 hours. Scott, across the Midwest tonight, some 8 million people are under a winter weather advisory.
Britain has carried out airstrikes against Islamic State targets in Syria just hours after its parliament voted in favour of military action. Early Thursday morning local time, 4 Tornado jets took off from an RAF air base in Cyprus. The UK Defence Secretary said the air raids targeted the Omar oil fields in eastern Syria, which are controlled by ISIS. The first pair of jets took off just over an hour after the Parliament vote had come in. After a 10-hour debate in the House of Commons on Wednesday, MPs voted 397 to 223 in favour of airstrikes. Britain had already been bombing ISIS targets in Iraq, but now joins the US-led coalition carrying out military operations against ISIS in Syria.
German lawmakers have approved plans for the country to take on a direct role in the combat against Islamic State in Syria, answering France's appeal for help after the deadly Paris attacks. The vote on proposal was 455 in favor and 146 against, with 7 abstentions. The approved package includes 6 Tornado aircraft outfitted for air-to-ground reconnaissance and the deployment of a frigate to protect the French aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle off the Syrian coast. Germany will also provide tanker aircraft to refuel the jets in midair. Germany has also pledged to send 650 soldiers to Mali to provide some relief to French forces battling jihadists in the West African nation. Germany will not join other countries, including Great Britain, France, and US and Russia, in conducting airstrikes.
Our mission will be tactical air reconnaissance. That means that with our aircraft we are able to provide very detailed pictures from a wide area. And these pictures can be sent immediately to our ground evaluation station, can be explored and can be made available to our customers. And that goes very quickly, so that we can really provide detailed pictures in a short period of time. Of course, we are working very closely with our allied partners. The responsible headquarters in El Udeid is responsible for the tasking and coordination of all assets of the coalition of the anti-IS. And we will be part of it. So we will be tasked and we will be controlled by our partners. So we will not at all be alone.
Well, as a fighter pilot, as soon as I go in such an environment like we are going to, we always try to fly with our combat load, and we are always prepared to defend ourselves against ground-to-air threat and also air-to-air threat. And we also have a lot of self-defense measures and tactics to defend ourselves.
Had previously accused Erdogan and his family of involvement in the illegal oil trade with ISIL jihadists after Ankara's downing of one of Moscow's warplanes last month. And Erdogan said that he would resign if Moscow proved the allegation, and he added that it was actually Russians who were involved in oil dealings. In November, the US Treasury imposed sanctions on George Haswani, holder of a Russian passport and a Syrian national, for serving as a middleman for oil purchases by the Syrian government from the Islamic State group. And Erdogan said Thursday a famous Russian chess player was also involved in the oil business with ISIL. And the new U.S. sanctions also apply to Kirsan Ilumzhinov, a wealthy Russian businessman and long-standing president of the World Chess Federation.
Showing off Turkey's military power and celebrating the 90th anniversary of the founding of the Republic, Turkey has the second largest army in NATO after the US. Its powerful army, navy and air force make it a regional force.
But Turkey has a big weakness too. It lacks air defense capabilities. It relies on NATO's Patriot missile systems. That's why Turkey wants to build its own air defense systems with a Chinese company. And that has angered NATO and the US.
In September, the Turkish National Defense Ministry chose China's Precision Machinery Import and Export Corp over rival companies from Russia, the US and Europe. But the Chinese company is under US sanctions for doing business with Iran, Syria and North Korea. The $3.4 billion deal includes the co-production of the FD-2000 air defense and long missile systems. China says its new technology is modern, efficient and precise. Turkey says the offer meets its demands of price requirements and, more importantly, allows it to co-produce the system. But that choice has made the US and NATO nervous.
Seen from a NATO perspective, of course, it is of utmost importance that the systems nations plan to acquire can work and operate together with similar systems in other allied nations. That's what we call interoperability.
Some military experts say it could be more than the issue of integration.
Our NATO allies are afraid of several points. One of them is that China can find security gaps and hack into NATO codes. I think our Western allies are afraid that Turkey would act alone, and that would help Turkey's struggle for leadership of the Middle East. We think Israel also has security concerns.
The final deal is yet to be signed, so this could be a tactic to force American and other European defense system makers to offer better conditions. Or it could be a message to take Turkey, a close ally of the US, more seriously. Omar Saleh, Al Jazeera, Istanbul.
This is too serious a crime to ignore. It's too grave to ignore.
Laura Pitter is the chief author of the Human Rights Watch report, and it is clear where she stands on the CIA interrogation techniques that the Bush administration sanctioned and put in place after the 9/11 attacks.
It was a state-sanctioned global program whereby men were abducted from all over the world, put in secret detention, and tortured.
The practices, detailed in a heavily edited congressional report released by the Senate a year ago, included waterboarding, sleep deprivation, isolation, exposure to extreme temperatures.
The CIA program was far more brutal than people were led to believe.
California Senator Dianne Feinstein fought to make the report public.
It shows that the CIA's actions a decade ago are a stain on our value and on our history.
Human Rights Watch says no one has ever been held accountable. It wants a criminal investigation into nearly 24 former Bush administration officials, including President Bush, Vice President Cheney, CIA Director George Tenet, Attorney General John Ashcroft, and National Security Advisor Condoleezza Rice. The group called on President Obama to appoint a special prosecutor to look into possible charges. It wants the president to acknowledge U.S. wrongdoing, apologize to victims, and offer compensation. In a statement, the CIA told Al Jazeera it has acknowledged, quote, the program had shortcomings and the agency made mistakes. The CIA also pointed out that the Justice Department previously investigated, quote, and decided not to initiate criminal charges.
All right. With those three.
President Obama, as one of his first actions in office, banned these interrogation techniques. But some of the 2016 GOP candidates have defended the practices and even embraced them.
Would I approve waterboarding? You bet your ass I'd approve it. You bet your ass. In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat.
That concerns Human Rights Watch, which says accountability is critical to send a message to other countries and future U.S. presidents.
Without clear signal that what would happen was criminal, there's a real danger this could happen again.
Lisa Stark, Al Jazeera, Washington.
To invite Montenegro to become a full member is not about Russia. It is about Montenegro and about NATO. And the decision to invite Montenegro is not directed against anyone. It is for our shared security.
I believe this invitation is a great encouragement for all the countries that aspire to join NATO. And it is a particularly good news for the Western Balkans because another Western Balkan country as part of the NATO means a strong boost for security and stability of the entire region.
The accession process will continue over months before Montenegro formally becomes the 29th member of the alliance. It is NATO's first expansion since fellow Balkan countries Albania and Croatia were admitted into NATO in 2009. A Kremlin spokesman said Wednesday that the continuing expansion of NATO to the east would lead to retaliatory measures from Russia. An RIA news agency cited a Russian senator as saying that Russia will end joint projects with Montenegro, including those in the military areas.
Recent satellite imagery appears to show North Korea is digging up a new tunnel at its main nuclear test site. U.S. Research Institute 38 North says the tunnel is in a new area of the Punggye-ri test site, where 3 other tunnels have been excavated in the past. A review of imagery over the past 12 months shows newly built covered structures, and they suggest logs seen near the site may have been used to support the new tunnel or to construct new buildings. Now, there are no signs a nuclear test is in the works, but the Institute does say that the new tunnel adds to Pyongyang's ability to conduct additional detonations. North Korea has conducted 3 nuclear tests at the Punggye-ri nuclear test site.
That's right. And developing this morning, police are now investigating vandalism at the Islamic Center of Palm Beach.
News Channel 5's Gabrielle Saran is live on the scene on Castlewood Drive as police continue their investigation. Gabrielle?
Ashley, John, minutes ago, detectives took down the crime tape, but take a look. You can still see almost every single window of the center is shattered. The president of the Islamic Center says it appears the suspect left an important clue: his or her blood. Now, it was around 5 this morning that the president of the center says he found the windows of it bashed and furniture overturned. He says surveillance video from inside the center shows a masked person overturning furniture and tables. The president of the Islamic Center says there was something red on the walls and on a doorknob. He says police told him it appears to be blood from when the suspect likely cut him or herself on the glass while breaking in.
This is one individual. You know, it's unfortunate that we don't hold him to represent the majority of the people here. We've always been very active in engaging with the community, condemning terrorism. We had our last big seminar was in March. We're going to continue doing what we do. You know, we're here for the community, and we're going to continue to be here for the community.
Live detectives are searching for the person or persons responsible. The president of the Islamic Center says his center has not received any threats and that he has a good relationship with the community. Members are inside right now, and they too are saddened by what happened. Today at 1:30, there will be a prayer service here at the Islamic Center of Palm Beach. We're live in North Palm Beach. Gabrielle Saran, WPTV, News Channel 5.
We cannot go that close. Yeah. But it's going down. Gray-haired woman, black jacket, white vest is running right now. Over.
Tens of thousands of people in the Dominican Republic are wondering if they're feeling the effects of climate change right now. They live near the largest lake in the Caribbean region, and it's growing larger at an alarming rate. CCTV's Nitza Soledad Perez has our story.
A sea of dead trees has replaced a local source of livelihood, properties, and hopes for a better tomorrow. The waters of the Caribbean's largest lake, Lake Enriquillo in the Dominican Republic, have been rising for a decade without anyone knowing exactly why.
The people that used to live here were mostly farmers and ranchers. Everything here used to be arable land. With the rising lake, they lost it all.
The lake has been expanding close to 1 meter per year, submerging more than 16,000 hectares of farmland in all. Too much rain, too many storms, locals say. Scientists suspect climate change is the root cause, but don't have conclusive proof. Displaced residents have been moved by authorities to a new neighborhood.
The water rose. It moved land from one side to the other. It basically trapped us in the middle. We had to leave. If not, we were going to drown.
Andres Vargas had lived his entire life by the lake.
I don't like it here. I used to eat meat every day. I had a goat farm. Weekly, I would kill one and we had food. Here I have nothing.
Most of the transplanted residents say they feel dumped in an urbanization project where they don't belong. A few blocks down, Francisco Encarnacion lives with his wife.
I had a huge property, but the lake took it all. I used to grow plantains, cassava, beans, pigeon peas, all that.
So Miguel, from all the versions you've heard, What do you think is the reason for this huge change in the levels of water here at Lake Enriquillo?
Bueno, en mi opinión, yo diría que el cambio climático.
In my opinion, all this is climate change, all these weird changes around the world.
The latest U.S. National Climate Assessment predicts more extreme weather patterns in the Caribbean, with fewer tropical storms, but ones that are stronger and produce more rainfall, further drowning hopes in this community that residents will ever return home. Nitza Soledad Perez, CCTV, Dominican Republic.
One magazine empty, car full of bullet holes, one ran, I can't tell you where I am. Stand by, I've got the hut with me. What is this street, mate? What street? Marikana Road, all vehicles, Marikana Road. Marikana Road. That's safe. Jerry, he missed the children this far. Hij must have got him, hij must have him. He's Ja, ga er stel in, ga er bij jou. Rooi, hij rooi uit.